A lot of the times I feel more strongly about my ideas and my vision than I do about the dance itself. Twyla Tharp has this great expression, which is like, you can't think outside of the box until you're in one. It feels more scary to have the potential for people not to like something that feels closer to your chest, but it also feels really good to make something that way. Hi, my name is Madeline Maxine Roman, or Max for short. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a dancer, choreographer, and the artistic director of GRIDLOCK Dance, a contemporary dance company based here in Washington, D.C. A lot of my inspiration does not come from particularly interesting or like sexy sound bites. I choreographed a piece last year called Honeysuckle that has like this grass turf rug. I just knew I wanted rolling in the grass. I was like, I don't know, I'll find the meaning once they start rolling in the grass. And sometimes it comes from like a theoretical place, but a lot of times it's just kind of like this is something that I want. This is something that I'm looking for. I work quickly and I work really collaboratively with my dancers. Oftentimes in rehearsal, we usually begin a process with a lot of discussion and ideas. I like to make kind of like a big folder on my computer of like anything that makes me think of the themes of this piece. Like, I'll save artwork that I find, I'll go to museums and I'll take pictures, I'll write down quotes, sometimes just like random crap, and I'll just put it in a folder, and then we'll improv and we'll make and we'll respond and we'll play. And I like have to have that in any creative process, or I don't feel like I fully examined it. I really like the quote, what is most personal is most universal, and that sometimes when I try to talk about an issue or an idea, bringing my own personal perspective into it actually helps it to be more resonant with audiences than if I were to not bring my own perspective into it. So I think it all feeds into it. I think that human kind of coming first, and then all of those perspectives kind of melding together to inform my point of view and my work. I find that at least the dancers that I have had the pleasure of working with are really invested in the themes that we're talking about, and it helps them to be really invested in the piece when there's a piece of them in it, as opposed to just coming into a rehearsal where it's like, learn this step and you have to do it exactly like this or else. I don't really give a shit if someone turns on the left or the right. I don't even care if we turn, as long as we're talking about the issue that I want to talk about. I like to build pieces around my dancers' instincts. So I'll come in with a phrase and we'll play around and we'll discuss and we'll have ideas sharing. And then I'll watch their improv really carefully and see how I can marry some of the physical ideas that I have with their instincts, because a lot of the times I feel more strongly about my ideas and my vision than I do about the dance itself, which I feel like makes me sound like a bad choreographer. But a lot of times the actual steps are a lot less precious to me than the intention and message that we're trying to convey. Oftentimes dancers will move in a way or respond to music that I've picked out really differently than what I expect. And that also helps me make dances that I think remain surprising and engaging. Because if I kind of marry some ideas that I have and something that came up in a dancer that's really different, I think it makes for really interesting movement. That was a lot and a little rambly, but I hope that makes sense. This is my first show that I've made since I almost said busting my ACL. That's not the terminology. I ruptured my ACL and tore my meniscus. It was kind of a bummer, actually, because it was during the Dance Magazine 25 to Watch showcase, but it was the tech, thank God, because otherwise, if it was during the show, I think I might have just done some like interpretive crawling around, and I don't really know how that would have gone over. And then I came back for the panel. Once again, love to yap. For the show Tooth and Claw, I worked with my creative partner / wife, Valentina, to write some text that's kind of interwoven in the show, including some poetry. We met in college. I studied dance and mass communication, and she has her undergrad in music. Her instrument is guitar, and she writes amazing music and poetry, and we were roommates in college, actually. Now we're gonna be roommates forever. But anyhow, I was like, when I was working on this show, I knew I wanted there to be some text elements, and she's such an amazing writer and also has a really unique perspective. So she studied music undergrad and then went on to grad school and got her master's in social work. So she's a mental health therapist, and I think has a really interesting take as a writer because of like her work, and her passion is helping people who are struggling with mental health issues, and brings a really interesting perspective to how issues like work and money and society can impact people on a really personal and emotional level. Is different than if I was just working with another professional. I think that what we've built hopefully will make people think, and I hope that it'll make them feel something too. It's really focused on this metaphor of the crab basket effect, which is this Maryland expression. So if you're not from Maryland, it refers to this phenomenon that if you put crabs in a basket, you don't need a lid, because when one of them starts to crawl up the side, the other crabs will pull them down. And I know that from also literally growing up in Maryland, seeing crabs do that. I was interested in it because of both the kind of like very physical nature of the expression, but people use it in a way to mean that like if you stand out too much or you deviate from the norm or the crowd in some capacity, society or other people will pull you down. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And I was doing some research, and there are other cultures that have similar expressions to the crab basket effect. Twyla Tharp has this great expression, which is like you can't think outside of the box until you're in one. And it's really hard for me to like choreograph something when it's like I have endless possibilities of what I could do. But once I start to narrow in and actually give myself some like pretty difficult restrictions, then I can like push up against them and think more creatively. So I knew I wanted some kind of structure. So then the rules became, okay, now I need to figure out how they interact with this structure and what this means for the piece. And so Tooth and Claw has this set with these large sort of like concrete industrial blocks that get stacked into kind of a tower, and the dancers climb on them and jump off of them, and trying to evoke some of those expressions and themes. It's beyond that into sort of a conversation around money and work and capitalism and, you know, the true cost of the American dream. It's just like finding all of these expressions that were reminding me of when I was crabbing growing up on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and this expression, and something about like standing out from the crowd, something about individual and society. And I knew I wanted to make a work exploring those kind of like themes and expressions. And on a practical level, I just knew I wanted some height. I was like, I just want something tall. I just want something. I love a prop. I love a prop so much, so much. Partly because it's just fun. I just feel like I'm just having a fun time when I have a prop. But the other part of it is that it gives me a container for a piece. It's grown so much beyond just the crab basket effect into these sort of broader areas. I was like, I can't just show crabs struggling in a basket for an hour. Like, we could all just go to our work and just do our jobs. We don't need to see that struggle for an hour, for me anyhow. I feel like I get really bored. And so I knew I needed it to grow, and it really, really has, and in ways that have surprised me. And it's been, I don't know, I feel actually like through the process of making this, like a lot more confident in my choreographic abilities, and in like the confidence that my brain is gonna bring forward like interesting ideas, and that my collaborators are gonna bring forward interesting ideas. And with the like text layered and very different kind of like music that we've woven in collaboration with the dancers and everyone who's part of this show, I think it's just really transformed into something that I didn't expect. The residency was a really good reminder that inspiration also doesn't just have to come at the beginning of a project, which it usually does to me. Like, I'm like, I want this specific prop and I don't know what the hell it means yet, but I know I'm gonna use it. Or I want to talk about misinformation like I was with Veritas. One of the moments in the piece, which I won't spoil, but I will just say that it is distinct and it may or may not be set to a song by Madonna, came to me like halfway through this residency, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have this idea and I have to do it. And that just feels really good, because I think especially for this show too, I felt a little bit of pressure of like, okay, well, this is my like return back to choreographing after I busted up my knee and I got 25 to watch and all these cool things. And it's been a while, and I don't want to say for certain, but I think this is going to be the work I'm the most proud of. And I'm really proud of things that I've made in the past, which I have made in collaboration with some amazingly talented people. I think that it's surprising. I think that what we've built hopefully will make people think, and I hope that it'll make them feel something too. I have so many thoughts about this show, partly because it isn't quite finished yet. Other things I'm like, oh, this is what it is. What's a residency? You know, we're gonna get it done like a week before. It's a residency. It's true. It's funny because I feel like every time I work on a show, I'm always like, oh my God, am I gonna get it done? We're gonna finish it? Everyone's like, yeah, we always finish it. It's always fine. And I feel like whenever I have new people in the company, they share that, like, I don't know, stress of like, is this gonna get put together? Will it be finished? And all the people who danced with me before, like, it always comes together. Max always puts it together. It always comes together. I have so many things to plug. My next show that's coming up is Tooth and Claw, which is going to be September 27th through 29th, 2024 at the Cultural Arts Center of Montgomery College as part of my artist residency. I'm so excited about this show and really grateful to everyone who's been a part of it. The cast, who are also my collaborators in this work, my partner, Valentina Roman, who wrote a lot of the poetry in the show alongside me, my brother Bill, who did the sound design. All the folks at Montgomery College have just been beyond fantastic to work with. The Arts and Humanities Council of Montgomery County, which is supporting this through a grant. City Dance Studios for a rehearsal studio partnership. All kinds of people who are helping to make this happen. I'm really grateful for that. So that's my shout out for the show. In general, you can follow my company, GRIDLOCK Dance, at GRIDLOCK Dance on all social media. We will have merch at the show, but I don't think that that's why you should come see it. And honestly, for a show about money, it feels silly to be like, come buy my merch. But you know, we really lean into those paradoxes in Tooth and Claw. So I don't know, come see the show, question the role of money, question society, maybe buy some merch.